Welcome to my channel. It's Akshadare by Devraj. I hope you guys are making you better in communications and you are following the previous tips which I have given in the previous videos. So of course those tips would make you better if you follow the tips. So before going to start the newspaper reading, I would request you guys to please subscribe the channel, like and comment to bring very informative videos related to healthcare, education, and personal interviews related to education. So I hope these would useful for these videos will be useful for you to make you better in communication and for some other competitive exams related videos for free coaching opportunities to utilize the opportunity. So let me start today's newspaper reading. Yes, this is Bangalore edition newspaper. No clear info on Senegal being given to Mountbatten. Food toddlers stabbed in France. Syrian held. OpenAI chief Sam Altman meets Modi. How to get railway safety back on track. India in trouble after Australia makes 469. International flight services to ship to KIA's T2 from September 1. RBI holds rates hose to keep price stability. We have made good progress in containing inflation despite 3 years of global turmoil. India's growth has bounced back. Shivkumar firm on taking on big builders. Says every law will be used to clear encroachments. Deputy Chief Minister visits Emaluru, Sajapur and Varthur and directs BBMP to complete storm water drain works as soon as possible. BBMP sets up temporary clinic as more residents of the apartment fall sick due to water contamination. Two held in charge of raping paramedic student. The police on Thursday arrested a 25-year-old delivery executive of an IT firm and his friend working in a bank on the charge of raping a 19-year-old paramedic student. The survivor, who is studying in Tumakuru, had come to meet her friend Purushottam on Wednesday. According to the police, Purushottam took the girl to his friend Kiran's house in Girinagar where they had a party. After some time, she raised an alarm and the neighbors rushed. They thrashed the accused and handed them over to the police. Purushottam and Kiran were booked and remanded in judicial custody. The survivor told the police that she had known Purushottam for some time and she had come to take back her mobile phone from him. Two killed in separate road accidents. Sweltering heat drove up power demand to 7,800 megawatt in April. HC allows felling up 203 trees for metro work between Kempapura Cross and Durarwadi Nagar. Children's safety should be given top priority in schools. Senior living communities enrich the golden years of life. Reality Investment Expo. UOM professor gets resolution of acceptance letter after 29 years. MSME conclave to be held today. Police conduct surprise checks on houses of rowdies. Flood of vehicles turns metro station into traffic nightmare. Citizens say there is a need for separate lanes for buses and auto rickshaws to decongest traffic in front of these stations. Metro, the how Kapan Fox book clubs are connecting Bangalore's reading community in the shade of books. Revisiting the Carnard classic. Drama in voice, a dramatized reading of Devika Harvin's working progress play Cumin will be presented today. Graha Jyoti to be launched on August 1st in Kalaburgi, Graha Lakshmi in Bangalore, Belgavi. Congress guarantees a decreasing quantum of rise for BPL families led to BJP debacle. Say defeated candidates. Probe ordered into misuse of funds in KKRDV. Increase reach among farmers, Minister tells UASB. Cows latter remark Congress pulls up Karnataka Minister. SC2-year appeal against bail to a YSRCP MP's son today. Chandrayana 3 will be launched in mid-July extra cheap. Here is the editorial page getting railway safety back on track after Odisha. Yes, there have been innumerable television debates following the train accident involving the 12,080 White 41 Shalimar Chennai Coromandel Express, the 12,864 Sir M. Vishweshwara Terminal Bengaluru Howrah Superfast Express, and a goods train at Bahanaga Bajar station in Balasore district. Odisha on the evening of June 2nd, but the key question are that many panelists have failed to address convincingly. Bearing the familiar platitudes is about how the Indian railways can work to ensure that such catastrophes are never repeated. Possible cause. First, a recap of what happened. Broadly, the interlocking of signals and routes through a series of relays and logic gates ensures that a train is guided by signals to a route amid a maze of railway tracks in a manner that would never cause it to encounter another train. Had or in the rare in this case, this interlocking was overridden by manual intervention. We have also we also have two causes. In the first, it was most likely done by a signal maintainer who has access to the equipment at a relay room, who may have been cutting corners to expedite his maintenance work so that the running train is not affected. Or in the second instance, as the Indian Railways seems to believe, it is the handiwork of a saboteur with criminal intention to cause an accident. The Odisha train accident is now a subject of double investigation. The first, the statutory probe by the Commissioner of Railway Rail Safety, and the second by the Central Bureau of Investigation, which is an unprecedented move by the government. Whatever be the findings, it is not premature to examine the question that has been raised above. In this specific case, the general public finds it quite bewildering that a careless and cavalier signal maintainer, or for that matter, a criminal, can meddle with the system and cause havoc of this magnitude. The heart of the interlocking equipment is housed in a central relay room in the main station building, and access to this room is similar to opening a bank locker. The station master and the maintainer have keys to a double lock, while tampering with the equipment in this room is possible by the maintainer. The caravans are otherwise with the station master. The chances of a criminal acting this way are inconceivable. On the other hand, there are some pieces of remote equipment spread all over a railway station head which are installed in arts and location boxes, access to which is possible only by the authorized maintainer. The possibility of tampering are greater in such locations. Reportedly, in this case, it was the equipment in one such art which was alleged to have been accused and meddled with in this case. It is not out of place to mention that this system of protecting sensitive signaling equipment is not unique to India. Something similar, if it not less stringent, is prevalent even in advanced rail systems abroad. How do you deal with a scenario in which the authorized maintainer himself, under pressure to clear a fault expeditiously or to execute in a quick manner regular maintenance so that the running of trains doesn't suffer, adopts shortcuts thereby endangering the lives of thousands of passengers, that there is a criminal out of cause mayhem. This is akin to a clever hacker accessing a computerized road traffic signaling system in a busy crossing and fiddling with the conflict resolution module, turning on all the lights in both directions to green and causing a massive crash of vehicles. Strengthen access to systems. Stronger safeguards against such misadventures, whether by the custodian himself or otherwise, may be difficult to build, but it is something that must be pursued with great resolve. The provision of a double lock system, even for remote huts in railway stations, will certainly cause great inconvenience to implement, increasing the chances of train delays. But it is a great price to pay given the Odisha train accident. This is an age of mobile phones and IT applications, and it should be possible to think of a system of multiple digital authorizations to access such equipment without the physical movement of stop other than the maintenance. These are the things the inquiry should look into, going behind merely identifying the culprits. Work towards devising a safer system should actually begin in earnest without waiting for any inquiry reports. Have come across some cases of the maintenance resorting to shortcuts which came very close to creating an accident like situation. If the inquiry into the Odisha train accident confirms that this was indeed a case of unsafe intrusion by a maintainer, it would be even more important to determine whether this was a one off case in the zone or whether it was something detected in the normal course but not dealt with sternly. Even if this was done occasionally, but the work has to stop with the top management of the zone. There is another issue, the larger question of the Indian Railway safety record and the way forward. Let us look at accident data. Till a decade ago, fatalities caused by railway accidents used to be in the range of 500 plus people every year. But in the last 4 years or so, the number is less than 50. Although the Odisha accident has left its imprint on safety statistics, it is important to accept that the general reduction in the accident rate is a result of some positive actions such as the elimination of unmanned level crossings as well as improved track renewal and maintenance. Funds are not an issue. Therein lies the selection. It was William Shakespeare who said, "Strong regions make strong actions." Yet the rail network in India is largely saturated. The number of train services has gone up exponentially, and there is a need to fill all vacancies in the safety categories. All this makes it even more imperative to focus more on upgradation of track and signaling. The provision of Kavach, the indigenous comprehensive signaling system, could not have prevented this accident, but other aspects of safety do demand faster implementation of Kavach. They should not only enhance rail safety but also improve the sectional capacity to run more trains, while the government having its share of the limelight following the introduction of more Vande Bharat trains and creating a hype around railway station modernization cannot be garaged. Faster execution of track and signaling work is exclusive to this. There is no dearth of funds as the capex investment by the central government in the Indian Railways is at an extraordinary high. Therefore, the least one can ask for is to make the Indian Railways much safer than it is today. This is about the recent railway accident which was happened in the Odisha Balasur. Another law, Canada is doing very little to address India's concerns on Sikh extremism, bridging the growing trust deficit in Manipur. Manipur, with over 35 communities inhabiting its valleys and hills, has a history of violence and deadly clashes. Ethnic violence has been brewing in the state for sometimes as mutual suspicion between ethnic groups in the Impal Valley and the hills turned into simmering conflict between the Maithis and the Kukis, especially after the order of the Manipur High Court on March 27 asking the state to recommend the scheduled tribe status to Maithis. Before this, the Manipur government had begun a drive to evict tribal villages from reserve forests, which was perceived to be an anti-tribal move, in turn leading to discontent and suspicion among the Kukis and other tribals. Hundreds of Kuki tribals have been dislodged from their traditional settlements areas without rehabilitation. The Kukis, with 10 MLAs in the 60-member Legislative Assembly, and the Kuki People's Alliance being a part of the ruling coalition under the Bharatiya Janata Party government in the state, did not make any difference. Community dynamics and the tensions. This is not to say that the claims made by the Mahdi's have no merit. They form 52% of the state population but are restricted to 10% of the geographical area. That is the Impal Valley. While relocating from hill to valley is legal, they cannot shift and relocate themselves. Most are Vaishnav Hindus because of their non-inclusion in the ST category to the hill area. 90% of which is occupied by Nagas and Kukis. There are some Maithis who think that their Hindu identity has brought them no political and economic benefits. On the contrary, this has been a liability as they are not treated as STs and are deprived of the right to occupy 90% of the territory of the state. Their grouse is not about the deprivation of jobs and political clouds as they are disproportionately ahead of the ill people in these matters. The land issue is more crucial for them. It is worth recalling that the Maidis have had a It is worth recalling that the Maidis have had a checkered history of violence and struggles before integration with India and acquiring the Hindu tag. They had sought to project a pan-Mongoloid identity, rejected the Bengali script, and even tried to revive an old Maidi religion called Sanamahism. They formed several insurgent groups such as the People's Liberation Army with bases in Bangladesh and Myanmar. They also protested against the presence of Mayangs, outsiders, which included Manipur Muslims called Pangals. Predictably, the Pangals bombed the radical Northeast Minority Front, while steps such as the protracted military operations, peak stocks, and political negotiations, improved means of communication in the region, development and the granting of statehood, almost brought about a total integration with mainstream India. It is the trust deficit propelled by the hasty implementation of the Land Act and the High Court order that has resulted in it going back to square one and the old days of the insurgency. The old difference now is that the mindless violence is between the two ethnic groups and not against the government or agencies representing the government. Restoring peace. Once again, the solution lies in military operations, at least till the intensity and the spread of violence is controlled. The Indian Army, the Central Reserve Police Force, the Border Security Force, and even the Indian Air Force have been deployed. The Union Home Minister has returned to Delhi after camping in Manipur and presiding over the peace process. A former Delhi Director General of CRPF has been sent to Impal as security advisor. An officer of the Tripura cadre, now serving as Inspector General CRPF, is tipped to take over as Director General Manipur. Camping operations are on and relief camps are in place. The perpetrators of the violence are facing strict action, but hundreds have dead, died, and property with crows have been destroyed. Has been destroyed. The panic continues. There are rumors that thousands of weapons, which include AK-47, have been looted by Mahdi's and cookies have also looted weapons from the police in their area of influence. The views expressed by the Union Home Minister, the Indian Army Chief and Security Advisor that the violence is the result of ethnic clashes between two groups have not succeeded in undoing the impact of statement of the Chief Ministers that party cookie trials have been killed in operations. The center stand and the presence of army and central forces are restoring the confidence of the cookies. Undo the damage. Until independence, much of northeast India was little explored and little understood. It was perceived to be another world affected by years of insurgency and violence. But of late, while other parts of the country have seen episodes of terror and violence, it is this region that has been peaceful. Its people have discovered their essential unity with the rest of the country, and they are beginning to realize that they have vital contributions to make that to the rest of India. The administrative and judicial interventions of the immediate past have proved to be very costly, whatever be their justification. The changes should be a natural evolution from the civilization of the past, absorbing the sensitivities of the tribals, their susceptibilities, including a propensity to resort to violence when provoked. When military and administrative steps seem to be the only and immediate options, enough care should be taken to undo the damaging steps that have created that trust deficit, which is the root cause for the turmoil now. This is about the mighties of Manipur. Economic emphasis passage. Their focus was on trade and development ties between during the Nepal PM's visit. Let me go to the next page. Do production linked incentives for manufacturing work. PLIs is not a handout, it's a post facto incentive given only when you have delivered the incremental output. The importance of small talk. CBI to probe if violence in Manipur was pre-planned. More Muslim castes on Bengal OBC list, says and CBC chief. Man accused of dismembering live-in partner sent to police custody. OpenAI's Sam Altman meets Modi discuss global regulation of AI. 36 held for Kolhapur unrest as city limps back to normalcy. Canada is giving space to extremists. Education Plus webinar on studying abroad tomorrow. AD issues summons to Abhishek. Why is Modi mom on parade hailing former PM's killing? Fired Paul's plant against WFI chief out of hand. Family is living in fear for minus further. BJP looks to stitch together new alliances ahead of Lok Sabha polls. Not clear if Spec Scepter was presented to Mountbatten, says the head of Math in Tamil Nadu. Buki daughter blackmailed Amrutha, says police. Say police. DRDO successfully tests ballistic missile Agni Prime. Bharat Biotech recalls typhoid vaccine due to low quality. National exit test to start from 2024, says Health Ministry. Canada wildfires shroud New York in apocalyptic age and smog. 11 killed in bombing at Taliban officials' memorial ceremony. Israeli troops demolish home of suspected Palestinian bomber. 4 toddlers are gravely injured in French Alps snipe attack. US UK 4 toddlers are gravely injured in French Alps snipe attack. US UK forge Atlantic declaration to boost ties. Blinken says Saudi Arabia not being forced to choose between US China. Relations with US and China were not a zero-sum game for Saudi Arabia, says Prince Faisal. EV two-wheelers firm send SOS to FM. Flag rising stress. SMEV seeks Sitaram's help to cope with stress caused by 1,200 crore of unpaid subsidies. EV makers group says bank have stopped extending credit to two-wheeler firms. Losses filing up. Easy trade finance is key to 2 trillion in exports. India inclusive urges reversal of rate cycle. Torrent rises 600 crore via non-convertible debentures. HC sends support Golden Tobacco directors to jail for contempt. Wow, it's too little nice. Golden Tobacco 4 directors continue to imitate gold plagues trademarks despite injunction. ProConnect aims to lead in tech solutions. Honeywell Labs in India design avionics official. Staying in the moment is the key to success, says Smith. It was just 1 run short of unique batting record. The ploy was to bowl short to head, reveals Siraj. Kapil Gale and Dhawan at the Oval for WTC final. India top order fails, RC's in control. Muchova stuns Sabalenka with epic comeback, faces Swiatek in final. A matchup with era-defining potential. India looks to begin in right harnessed in the Intercontinental Cup. Boxer Usamuddin undergoes knee surgery. Chetri has his sights set on the final of the four-nation tournament. Ding to spearhead the Triveni Continental Kings Challenge. Feed your brain mind seamlessly if that is how you feed your body. One of the Zahan Farage to keep the 2023 season alive as worst and threatens to drive away with it. Guardiola's philosophy is sought after brand among the best in Europe. How long-term stress impacts the intestine and the whole life? Chronic psychological strain and pressure can precipitate inflammation and dysmotility in the gut. Details a recent study published in Cell Journal, important for future research and clinical practice, says doctors in India. How long-term stress impacts the intestine and your life? So we have to think about this. Chronic psychological strain and pressure can precipitate inflammation and dysmotility in the gut. Details a recent study published in Cell Journal, important for future research and clinical practice, says doctors in India. The MARP challenge. UGC for centers in universities to deal with stress-related problems. Some higher educational institutions have counseling facility, while BU plans to ensure that student services centers are set up in all colleges. Bangalore startup launches a high-powered lab experiments app. Srishti's new campus and collaboration promise a merge of ideas and talents. Precision inmates in Bangalore to make eco-friendly plates. Remarks on panel a privilege issue against KH Patil. Karnataka in focus, Kedda operations, 9 campus in state, Dasra elephants, tranquilizer dots, deaths in conflict. No degree can help you land this skilled job of elephant caretaker. Though the jobs are open to all, only those from families with a history of handling elephants can get through. The skills is mostly passed on from one generation to the next. Text and context is the last 2 pages. So this is very important. So worth of 2000 rupees notes that return to the bank 1.8 in lakh crore. Property prices shoot up in most cities in Q4 of financial year 2023. Center approves a package for displaced people in Manipur. Amount saved by the steel industry in foreign exchange. Trapped children rescued from orphanage in Sudan. Cyclones effect on monsoon onset. Global warming's effects on cyclogenesis over the Pacific and North Indian Oceans. The warming over the North Indian Oceans and the late pre-monsoon cyclones and typhoons are another monkey wrench in the monsoon dynamics and in the predictions of the monsoon onset and its evolution through the season. What was the requirement for limits on UPI transactions? Yes, guys, uh, we have to see, we have to think, and while before making the UPI transactions, and you have to know this news, especially while making the UPI transactions. As transactions breach record highs, banks have opted to impose daily limits. So the idea is to sustain the smoother functioning of the payments interface as it continues to acquire wider popularity in our daily lives. As transactions facilitated by the Unified Payment Interface breach record highs, banks have opted for daily limits. These are over and above the already imposed ceilings mandated by the facilitator. The National Payment Corporation of India in 2021, the idea is to sustain the smoother functioning of the payments interface as it continues to acquire popularity. What is the conversion about daily limits? At present, users can make up to 20 transactions or 1 lakh in a single day, either all at once or through the day. For certain specific categories of transactions, such as the capital markets, collections, such as bills, among others, insurance and power inwards remittances, the limit is 2 lakh. In December 2021, the limit for the UPI based application supported by ASBA blocked amount IPO and retail direct schemes was increased to 5 lakh for each transaction. The conversation now revolves around the banks and apps coming up with their own guidelines for transactions. For example, state-run lenders Punjab National Bank and the Bank of Baroda has set its transaction limit at much lower 25,000. PNB daily limit is 50,000 as per apps. Among others, Google Play users breach the daily limit if they try to send money more than 10 times in a single day across all UPI apps. As the payments interface looks to expand its footprints, recall the boarding of non-resident accounts have international numbers into the ecosystem and its growing utility in daily lives. So limits would help maintain an essential security infrastructure and its seamless functioning. This is also important as the interface looks to expand its use case, as also called for in the proposed pilot project for coin vending machines with the UPI as the facilitator. What does the industry think? Digital payments have used PhonePe's spokesperson told the Indo the limits are set balancing out customer convenience and potential fraud or risk concerns. The NPCI has also increased the value limit in specific categories, where the average transaction value is either such a capital market or credit card bill payments. As for the moves impacting the future growth, all the ecosystem participants, the NPCE and the regulator regularly will review the transaction and value limits on UPI and implement the requisite changes where the need exists. The official said, referring to the higher limits for IPOs, banking, mutual funds, loan repayments, etc. What are the most recent trends observed with respect to UPI? In May this year, the total number of transactions facilitated using UPI increased to 9,415.119 million. 19 million. The combined value of such transactions also increased at a largely similar 14.89 lakh crore. The segregation in terms of P2P, peer-to-peer, and P2M, peer-to merchant is particularly interesting. In terms of volume wise, P2P accounted for about 43% at 4,045.48 million. In terms of value, its share scaled up to 11.4 lakh crore. In the P2P category, the majority of the transactions were in the below 500 bracket, which in the P2M category. The share in the same amount bracket stood at 84.3%. This given an indication of its lower down utility. Important to note that considering the varied nature of merchants and business, the nature of transactions can be categorized in favor of one wills that should be it should be on the other side. However, important to note in this context, until February in the financial year 2022 to 2023, total number of reported UPI frauds had also increased about 13% in comparison to the previous financial year to 95,402. However, this was alongside a decline in the fraud to sales ratio at 0.0015%. Thus, to combat the growing incidences, there is the imperative need to have safeguard infrastructure in a growing ecosystem. Sorry for the misspell of these some words due to unseeable, like not able to see. Not able to see, so how misspelled the words. So I hope you guys would understand. So let me go to the last page, which is in the text and context page. So as you guys know, there is only the 25. There are some bank restrictions. You can depending upon the bank. There is 1 lakh limit for some other banks. There are 25,000 UPI transactions in a day, daily transactions. There is a limit is there while making the UPI transactions as per respective as per in the respective banks. So at least check while making the UPI transactions, guys, before making the payment, either it is a limit has been reached or not. Once check and then make the payment. If it is not done, not if you have already crossed it, then you have to go some other payments methods like internet banking or some other RTGS or net. The real heartwarming Kerala story and a monotone of hatred, falsities in contrast. Former Doordarshan news anchor Itanjali Hajjaya passed away on June 7. In honor of her work, IS Equich on Esther Year news anchors. This is the last page, guys, and also it has last page has the Kerala the Malayalam movie, which is very popular. 2018 might not be into the league of cinematically brilliant films, but thematically it stresses people's unity in the terms of a catastrophe amid a vast social divisions. In sharp contrast, the Kerala story is a shocking denomination, demonization demonization of Kerala and Muslims and exists to spread for among people. Demonization, demonization is. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading, and please read the newspaper at least 40 minutes to 2 hours. Then you will really very good in communication in 30 days. I hope you will follow the same tips to make you better in the communication. So, and see you in the upcoming videos, guys. Please subscribe the channel, like and comment for more videos related to health education and personal interviews related to education. See you in the upcoming videos. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.